Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today, I really want to take a quick second to address what's going on around this space. I have been making videos for about 4 years, and we have gone through pretty much everything that you can guess. Major price swings to the upside, major swings to the downside, huge headline articles about FTX imploding, Luna imploding, and everything in between. But one thing that's very clear throughout the last 4 years that I really kind of keep circling back to is how things are changing, how big this space is becoming. The overall topic of discussion right now around the world, from central banks, from the major financial organizations, even asset management companies that everyone knows. What do we keep hearing? Tokenization, digital assets. We need to speed up, payment processes. We need to, move towards automated digital workflows, and we need to do this and do that. And guess what all of these things need? Blockchain, DLT. I bring this up because, over the last 4 years, everyone has always been focused on the price action. And I understand it. Right? I get it completely. When I invest into something, I want to see it, make a return. But when we're treating this space as just a get-rich-quick scheme, you're always going to be disappointed. Because when we think about what crypto actually is, when we think about this entire space, like we could sit around and, talk about how XRP right now is $2.25. But we are completely oblivious to the fact that it's up 275% roughly on the 1 year, from roughly, 50 cents, sub 40 cents. And now it's trading at $2.25 after it hit $3.40. We could sit around talking about how the price action has been pretty boring over the last couple of weeks, or how we continue to hear tariff discussions that, completely, cause the market to be halted and sell off in a negative way. Or we could sit here and actually talk about what matters, which is the fact that the technology is now being realized. We're now starting to see regulatory shifts happening. We are now also starting to see positive engagement with these regulatory bodies like the SEC, the CFTC, for an example, with crypto and blockchain-based companies, exchanges, stablecoin issuers. And this leads me to my next talking subject, which is why I'm actually talking about this. And it's because of this comment that got posted in my previous video. And it was mainly talking about how XRP is useless because the case hasn't been dropped yet. Now you might say, all right, well, this is just a bot that commented this. I read through a lot of my comments. Trust me, I see the spam comments too. The issue is, for every 10 that I delete, there's another 100. I try to ban all the keywords. I try to, kill all the spam. YouTube, it's useless. It's ridiculous. But one thing's clear from me reading a lot of these comments. A lot of them are very similar to this. Or they talk about price action. Now, I said that I don't usually spotlight comments I get on my channel, but this one stuck out to me. Now, you might be thinking of a specific reason why, but let me explain. This comment, along with countless others that I read every single day, proves that not everyone will get rich. We are in the beginning stages of the largest technological advancement in history. Digital payment rails, automated workflows, tokenization of every single asset class. The list goes on. How many will truly be able to reap the rewards of being early if this is the attitude of those who are? Not being able to see past the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is ridiculous at this point. XRP will be one of the most valuable crypto projects in this space, and the SEC case won't change that. I truly hope a lot of you don't have tunnel vision and can see past all the noise in this space. The future is extremely bright for utility-based projects. You just have to be a visionary. Now, let's actually think about why I'm so positive and I'm actually very confident in the future around this space, including, of course, XRP. Let's actually start off with the SEC, which was once one of the biggest enemies of crypto. They recently posted this video on the 17th, and they said the SEC's crypto task force will host a series of roundtables to discuss key areas of interest in the regulation of crypto assets. Now, this is going to be happening on March 21st. This is the first roundtable. Now, I do have the agenda open over here. We're going to get into that here in a second, but listen closely to what we are hearing from Hester Pierce.
Mark your calendars for March 21st. The SEC's Crypto Task Force will be holding its initial roundtable at SEC headquarters from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Not only will the discussion be streamed live on sec.gov, but it will also be open to the public. This first roundtable is part of our Spring Sprint series, and it's entitled How We Got Here and How We Get Out, Defining Security Status. We hope that if you're able, you'll join us either in person or online for an open and frank discussion about defining the security status of crypto assets. More information about the agenda, speakers, and logistics of the roundtable is posted on sec.gov. We know that this process will take time and hard work, and we thank you for your patience and your continuing collaboration.
Now, with this, right, there was also another video regarding Hester that actually got posted yesterday, and we have the buck stops at the SEC. When we make bad decisions, the blame lies on us. Hester Pierce isn't holding back. She's frustrated with how the agency has handled crypto. Check it out.
I've been very frustrated about how we've approached crypto here at the SEC over the past several years. And it has real world consequences. And I get that. And it's frustrating for me sitting here. I know it's unbelievably more frustrating for people who are actually bearing the costs directly. And I've had conversations with some of those people, and it's very difficult. But I think one thing that's really important to underscore is that decisions about how to proceed, whether we're going to use our enforcement tool, whether we're going to use our rule writing tool, are made at the commission level. So the buck does stop at the commission. When we make bad decisions, the blame lies on us. It doesn't lie on the staff. They report to the chairman. They are supposed to follow the policy direction that they're getting from the commission. They're supposed to execute that as effectively as they can. And we have a very good, hardworking, dedicated staff at the commission, and they seek to try to carry out the directives that they're getting.
So we could obviously see a big shift around the SEC at this current point in time. We know that we are about to witness some big changes happening. We already have, when we think about a lot of the crypto cases that have been dismissed or dropped completely, we still look for the Ripple case, obviously. But if we actually look at the agenda from this new crypto task force, here we have the first one that is going to be happening on the 21st, and this is actually the Spring Sprint Towards Crypto Clarity. That's what it's actually titled here, and we could see the agenda. So we could see a lot of the individuals that will be speaking at this roundtable. Some pretty big names from some pretty large companies, law firms. So again, I think that this is going to be a very interesting one. We could see the panelists here in terms of those that will be speaking, what they will be speaking about. I think that this is probably going to be one of the most beneficial things around crypto engagement with regulations, because you got to remember, right? It's not just regulators. It's not just TradFi or Web2 people here. No, we actually now have individuals from the space being included in these roundtable discussions with the big regulators like the SEC, which is something that we have been demanding since going all the way back to like roughly 2020. Now, on top of this, there is a big hearing coming up, and I do think that this is going to be a game changer for Ripple. Senate hearing set for Trump's SEC nominee, Paul Atkins. Paul Atkins, nominated by President Trump to lead the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, is scheduled for a Senate confirmation hearing on March 27th. His nomination has been delayed due to the submission of financial disclosure paperwork. Atkins is perceived as potentially pro-cryptocurrency, which could influence the SEC's future regulatory approach towards digital assets. So again, This is another big thing tied right back to the SEC. And this is also something that is very bullish for Ripple, because if we go back to what Brad Garlinghouse did say about Paul back in December, we have an outstanding choice. Paul Atkins at the helm of the SEC will bring common sense back to the agency, along with Hester Pierce and Mark Ueda. It's time to swiftly and definitively end the prohibition era on crypto, restoring freedom of choice, economic growth, and innovation. And also remember this video clip here as well. Big shout out to Good Morning Crypto. New Paul Atkins, President Trump's nominee for SEC chair, could be confirmed during the Senate confirmation hearing said to be scheduled on March 27th. Here's a video of him discussing the SEC versus Ripple case. A lot of things riding on that. That's a really interesting thing to follow. Check it out.
People are running into, a brick wall at the SEC. There's the lawsuit against Ripple. A lot of things riding on that. So that's like a really interesting thing to follow in this space.
So he's obviously aware of the case. He's aware of what's been happening around the SEC. And, I do think that this is going to be an individual that is very pro crypto. I mean, even Brad Garlinghouse said that he's an outstanding choice. He's backing him. Now, have we heard this before with Gary Gensler, right? Because a lot of people actually thought that Gary was going to be the white knight, right? He was going to be our knight in shining armor that was going to, clean up the space and solve all of these big problems. I remember even XRP holders saying like, oh, we can't wait for this. It's going to be great. And then guess what? Gary Gensler got in and we already know what happened. So we don't want to see a repeat of that. We want to start to see, some very positive engagement from Paul almost immediately. So far, the SEC has been, shifting their focus. They've been very good with, being pro crypto so far. We've been seeing some very big updates across the board with, the recent Genius Act. We've been seeing a lot of engagement from Congress, from even the U.S. government itself, and even from this presidential admin. So I want to see that continue. And I think that, 2025 could definitely be the year where we actually start to see that historical shift in the right direction around regulation and policy engagement for crypto. And if we do get regulatory clarity this year, I would assume that, going forward, we're going to start to see some pretty big moves happening around the integration, adoption, and utilization side of this tech. Now, again, when we think about what we actually need in place for all of that to happen, it all starts with regulation. We know that the tech is already here. XRP, it has been spotlighted for years and years about its efficiencies. It's been tested, it's been tried, and it's been tested and tried by some of the biggest organizations out there. We're talking central banks like the Bank of England, for an example. It's already working with some of the biggest banks out there as well. Ripple has already 100, plus. I think now it's up to like 500 plus major partnerships with some very large fintechs, central banks, banks themselves. And a lot of people actually assume that it could be in the thousands, because there's also 1,700 NDAs under Ripple's belt. So we don't know what is happening behind closed doors, but I do think that, regulations are a good starting point to really kind of uncover what's behind those closed doors. And just like the big banks were saying back in January, once we do have regulations, that's basically the green light to actually engage in crypto-based payments for their clients. And I do think that that's a game changer and ultimately something that will drive this market to the next, 5 trillion mark, 10 trillion mark, or, possibly even much, much higher. Because again, once banks start to actually adopt and utilize it and offer crypto-based services to their clients, that's the beginning stages of mass adoption. That's going to be like the MySpace and the Facebook, if you will, that, war to the internet. That's basically what would be our big social media, boom event to actually achieve mass adoption. So I'm definitely focused on the big banks and what the big banks are doing. We know that regulation has been really kind of pro around the big banks jumping in on this space. So we'll have to watch, wait, and see with that. But the main focus right now is what happens on the 21st and then also on the 27th with Paul Atkins. I think that these are two dates that we should be looking into. Now, should we be looking into these dates for a big price move on XRP or anything like that? Absolutely not. But they could definitely be two big days for crypto to actually get some very pro, crypto engagement moves around regulation and policy ongoing. And I do think that the Paul Atkins one, it's not like a crazy event, but, I do think that this will be the start of the big shift in the SEC. And so far, they've already been doing a very good job. I do expect it to, you know, continue under Paul. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.